All right, Mekone turned 35. We had a throne claim. I believe this is Agartha got the Throne of Air, which is nice. I don't think they normally get a lot or maybe any air. So, yeah, that's cool. I think you can recruit a air mage from that throne. We are turning more fire gems or possibly earth gems into gold. Hopefully fire gems. So yeah, I was chatting with the TNN player a bit back and forth. He was wondering where I was getting all my gold for my PD dumps. Well, yeah, this is part of the answer. Also, sometimes luck. Speaking of TNN, the rating machine has been turned back on as feared. We don't need to watch most of these. We can watch this first one here. Pretty similar to the raids before. No gems now. So, you know, free rating, if you will, other than the mage turn. So, air shield, mist form, all pretty similar. You know, good stuff for rating. Blessing throws out a phantasmal warrior, which sometimes the AI likes to just spam, but this looks like it's part of the script, which, you know, is nice. I mean, that phantasmal warrior just took out a militia or something like that. So, you know, like a little bit of cover to help him finish out his script. Because this is a long script. Like, it's a full 5 slots, I believe. Because he does, yeah, he goes in and attacks now. And he threw on Elemental Fortitude, which should help a bit for, you know, things like Incinerate and stuff like that we've been doing. You know, it's just 5 elemental resistance across the board. Really good spell. You can see from the Spell Singer, the fatigue is pretty low. Now, I mean, a lot of those were, you know, pretty light in terms of their fatigue cost anyway, but still, going through like a full round of scripts and ending up with 31 fatigue, well, that's pretty good. So it takes him a little while, but yeah, it's a nice trait. And yeah, this is, you know, 1 PD, so he's going to have no problem with this. So yeah, pretty similar to what we've seen before, but, you know, no script, or I mean, I'm sorry, no gems. So yeah, and he wipes out some heavier PD in other places. Pretty similar. There's a little bit of variation in some of these scripts. Sometimes they throw in like a Bark Skin or a Holy Avenger instead. I'm not actually sure like what the reason is for the variation. So yeah, we lose all of these. And then this is us, you know, rating back with our Polemark group. So they do fine against minimal PD. And then we catch a battle with Ermor, which is mostly not interesting other than the fact that it's their pretender. So yeah, this is the baddest bitch, Lizzo. And she is rocking double weapons, which is cool. You know, that's a lot more attacks. She also just has snake hair, so she's got 3 attacks, one of which is a Dusk Dagger, which is pretty good, like anti-elite, anti-thug kind of thing, because it's got this draw blood, and bleeding is pretty bad if you're not regenerating or something like that. And I believe it's, yeah, this damage is armor negating, right? So it doesn't care about protection. So yeah, really cool weapon, really good. Actually, it's another playthrough. Maybe I should look at this weapon. Anyway, you see this a decent amount. And yeah, it's cool because, so he's got this for the thugs most likely, you know, or any elites that he runs into. And then he's got a Mace of Eruption, which we were using on our pretender for a bit. Possibly still using, and this is like AoE, right? So this is chaff clearing. So like that's a good combination. I like that. And then, you know, elemental armor gets all the resistances other than poison, which she probably just has because she's a Gorgon. And then he's also stacked quite a bit of reinvigoration, right? So this is, you know, 3. So what are we looking at here? Yeah, 6 reinvigoration, plus possibly some from the Bless. Yeah, it looks like his Bless is just, yeah, 2 reinvigoration, which is nice. So yeah, Ermor, early age Ermor definitely doesn't need a strong Bless. So yeah, you know, an 8 reinvigoration on a mage is really nice. So yeah, she's not going to tire out. And then she's got some anti-magic, yeah, some magic resistance gear here. So yeah, let's see, what is that? Yeah, 23. That's, you know, not unbeatable, but pretty good. Like, unless you're up against like a dedicated Soul Slay Communion or something like that, or you get unlucky. Things happen. Like, yeah, you know, pretty good. So yeah, cool build. Good paths too for thugging. She can definitely, yeah, summon Earth Power, so even more reinvigoration. Let's see what else. Iron Skin, so protection's going to be like pretty much through the roof. Yeah, 29. Very good. Personal regeneration. She doesn't have a ton of health, but I mean, you know, combined with everything else and like the good protection, and 42 is like good enough. Yeah, so I mean, she's just up. This is like some of those thrown attacks, so I don't think she's gonna have any problem here. But yeah, this is a little fearsome. Like, this could be nasty to go up against. I think she is. I don't know what size she is. Let's see. Oh, she's size 4. Yeah, and I think these are only size 4 elementals. Yeah, and she just wiped out the commander too, so they're just going to disappear, assuming she doesn't kill him first, which, yep, she does. So yeah, that was kind of neat to see. And then, yeah, more rating, same stuff that we've seen. And this is our solo operator, Polemarch. And, you know, that never goes poorly. So, also Summoner's Power Classic, you know, if you have that 2 Earth, or even just 1 Earth and an Earth Gem on a Thug, like, it's usually good to put on. You know, that reinvigoration is just super important. Pretty minimal kitting here, so, you know, throwing on some stone skin for some more protection. Our protection actually isn't great because, you know, we've brought it down with this plate to help with our encumbrance some, but luckily he's up against pretty minimal lion tribe PD, which are not great. And he goes in with, yeah, a solid amount of fatigue. Like, this is good. 25, not bad. You know, he's not fatigue neutral, but he's not too far off, right? So he'd have to fight through a lot of stuff before fatigue became a problem for him. He's not super killing. Definitely, I mean, their weapon is good, but it's more like anti-elite, especially against like gods or sacreds, right? They do fatigue damage with it, but yeah, their default weapon is not great for PD rating, but I mean, it's not like strictly required to replace, especially if you're going up against like light amounts of PD. So yeah, he does just fine. That's nice. And then we get attacked in Hinnom. So this is not a raid. So this is that, you know, we've seen pretty much all of this, I think. Maybe he might have brought in like a couple extra sacreds. I can't remember offhand. But yeah, we'd seen this moving forward. It's his, you know, stack of siege chaff garbage, along, you know, with quite a few of his sacreds. He's got a twice-born troll shaman here. Pretty cool. They're a caster you can bring in with some nature. It's a good way to jump from nature to death. I'm not sure. Probably just going to be using him for skeletons. You know, he's a death 2. If it's a death 2, there's a good chance skeletons. I don't think his god was who cast flaming arrows. Okay, his prophet is here. So he'll be blessing up the sacreds. But yeah, I don't think he has any way to get flaming arrows on his archers. Although it does look like this guy is going to be doing wind guide. So yeah, so he's got some slingers and some archers. They're going to be more accurate on our side. Mostly PD. I think, you know, some of these peltasts are, you know, real mobile peltasts, and possibly a few of these gigantes, you know, are actually ones that we've recruited, but mostly just a huge, massive PD. We've got our, you know, fire elemental summoners and, you know, a couple other of these E4s. You know, they're going to be doing, you know, fireball and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed. I think we also maybe got a divine blessing down. Yeah, our morale is not great. You can see, like, yeah. Peltasts and really all the slave troops, yeah, pretty awful morale, especially because the PD doesn't, you know, they don't get like special leaders that you can buff it up with, but, you know, when we're just throwing javelins, right, you can see we're getting hits. You know, the fireballs, when they hit, you know, erase squares, so like that's good. There's some earth meld, you know, hitting these guys. Of course, we're still just mostly throwing javelins, so the timing on that is maybe not great. The elementals not really working out fantastic. They're too far back. I was pretty worried about like the hounds, you know. And I mean his sacreds are pretty fast too. But so yeah, they're pretty much just setting our peltasts on fire. You can see like they just, I think the elementals always come in on like attack closest basically. But yeah, I mean, you know, our gigantes are tough. Looks like, yeah, our human hoplites have given up that low morale. There are a few elementals getting through, and like when they do get in, ooh yeah, did he get there's like some wooden warriors maybe? Yeah, maybe some wooden warriors on some of these guys. Yeah. Which increases protection, right? Gives you 10 natural protection. Very nice. Like a really good buff on these guys, because protection is kind of one of their issues. But it does make you susceptible to fire. So yeah, that's kind of lucky for us. If we can, these elementals can get through. These guys are just, they're just gonna burn our stuff. So yeah, I mean, we've pretty much wiped out like this flank. It looks like most of his like chaffy center is gone. Our Gigantes are holding. So this is looking good. Like this is, we needed this. Because we don't really have anything in the way of like real troops in this fort, so if this PD didn't hold, well, we would be in big trouble. It's not over yet, but I mean, like, these monkeys are out of ammo now, and like they have terrible morale and like not great stats and a dagger. So I mean, I don't know. My money is on the Gigantes here, and like the slingers, like forget about it. Our Gigante hoplites are not going to care about that. Now, we are having some more routing from our Peltasts, and our Elementals are going to continue to set Peltasts ablaze, so it's not impossible that, we just HP route. What was that, like fire darts, I think? Normally not great, but against, unarmored monkeys, actually not bad. Yeah, even setting some of our Gigantes on fire. Yeah, these Elementals really just didn't work out. I think maybe like some screen of like garbage in front of our elemental summoners, like just a little bit, to keep the hounds off of them, and then position them like farther forward. Usually when I have elemental summoners, I like to have them, I mean, if not all the way in the front, like really close to in the front, because otherwise, like, and then fire elementals aren't super fast either. Especially these lesser ones. I think the full-sized ones are faster. Also, like, it should be, like, at least normal heat. In fact, we can ask him, can't we? No, wait. Yeah. Okay, it's probably neutral, I'm thinking, because, they have firepower. So if it was heat scales right now, I think they would be a bit faster. Like, they're incredibly slow. If it's like something like cold 3, their combat speed is like, I don't know, 4 or something. It's ridiculous. You basically just summon them and they just, huddle around each other shivering and don't really do much. So yeah, that went pretty well for us. So we did have some actual troops. Okay, a lot of those Peltasts were actually like real Peltasts. So, I mean, a lot of the damage that he did was against, our province defense, which since we won, we get it back. So that's good news. In terms of actual losses, just, 31 Peltasts, one of our Gigantes, which hurts. And then, a couple random human hoplites, which is fine. We don't really care about those. And I mean, his losses were not like catastrophic by any stretch of the imagination, right? This is a weaker army than the one that completely destroyed our only field army. But, this, I'm pretty sure, was his prophet. Actually, it might have been the She-Lord, but he might have lost his prophet. He didn't lose too much in the way of casters either, right? I mean, pretty much just the Troll Shaman, who was twice-born. So he's going to get him back. So, in terms of, like, and he didn't really commit too much in terms of casters either. So, sort of a more low commitment. He did lose 21 of his sacreds. That matters, I don't know about a lot, but it's significant. I'm not sure how many of those he can bring in a turn. Certainly like no more than 10, and that's very, very unlikely. He's probably looking more at like 6 or maybe 7, if he's like really kind of focused on that. So we're talking like 3 turns of recruitment here, and a decent amount of gold. Like, these guys are not cheap, so like that's important. I think these are mercenaries, so, and like 20 militia, who cares? These she warriors are expensive, 25 apiece. So losing 13 of them hurts. Furbolg actually are not super cheap. They're not expensive. But losing 25 of them, like half roughly of what he had, like that hurts. The Atavi, they're really cheap. So those he doesn't care so much about. And I don't know, his other random garbage, like whatever. But like really the most important thing is that like Hinnom is not immediately under threat now, which is a big deal. So yeah, this was a really big win. This is big enough that this is the kind of win that you screenshot and like send to neighbors. And he probably, I mean, if I was him, I certainly would have screenshotted the other win. And this certainly wouldn't, if I was looking at this battle report, from me and the other battle report from TNN, I would still be on the fence at best. But, you never know. So, yeah, I sent this out, I think, to Arco and, Niflheim to try to encourage them, like, hey, yeah, like, kill some stuff. So, yeah, that's good. We definitely needed that. And then, events. So demon worship, of course, there's still a calf, 3 heads, something demon gate. We rooted out some robbers, got some gold, so that's cool. Probably some luck. 19 death gems. 19! That's a ton. That is a ton for a gem event. Usually I see like 1 or maybe like 7 at most. So yeah, this definitely feels like luck to me. That's a ton of death gems. So yeah, and then the necromancer, he's cruising around, I guess. I don't know what this means, but he's in Summer Edge now, which is not one of our provinces, but we do actually know where it is. So I actually looked around. Where is it? It's somewhere up. Yeah, here it is. So this is either Kalem's territory or possibly like Ermor's, maybe Russ's. So yeah, he's far enough away we probably don't have to worry about him yet, but he's not like there's probably a reason there's 3-headed calves being born and etc. But anyway, let's not worry about the necromancer. We have elf problems. So what are we doing? So his rating was like mostly focused kind of around Hinnom. He also like knocked out our throne, which is annoying, and retook this, which is decent. Getting an air gem out of this, so definitely important to take that back for him. So yeah, I mean we're just continuing our march up here. Like this is pretty far away, right, from him. So I'm hoping that this stuff is less likely to get raided. We're up here, so we might as well work our way back through all these other TNN provinces, which are ours, and just temporarily under an elven flag. And then in Hinnom, I mean, we got the win, so we're coming out. There's definitely like some retreats, right? So hoping to eliminate the remnants of that army. So, I mean, this is a bit risky. This is not a ton of stuff that we're sending in. 30 Peltasts, 6 Gigantes, our profit. And, 1 E4 that's going to do some, like, Earth Meld and stuff. I don't know. Probably should have sent these other Peltasts, I feel like. They're just patrolling. I mean, we do need patrollers, always need patrollers. But, yeah, I mean, if I was him, like, I'd be tempted to, like, PD dump here. Because this is, like, kind of a predictable move. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And then, we're going to use our Polemarch, our solo operator, to try to clean out this. It looks like there's less here. Now, of course, a few of his sacreds and those she warriors did survive, so obviously this is not the full story in terms of what we're seeing from the scout report. But it wasn't very many of them. Like, 2 of his sacreds survived and 3 she warriors. So, like, that's not that, and they're probably split. So, this is the rare case, probably, of, what you see is what you get with the elves. He may have snuck other stuff in, and he may cloud. I mean, things can happen, but he probably would have committed it if he had it in the area to that battle on Hinnom. So yeah, so hopefully these counter raids will work out. We're also sending out. Let's see. Yeah, this is real scary. Okay, some fire elementals, lesser fire elementals. So yeah, this should work in theory, right? We've got this guy with some incinerate to hopefully wipe out any thugs that we bump into, and lesser fire elementals aren't great, but 2 of them should be enough to wipe out pretty minimal PD and some random garbage left over. I don't know, we'll see. And then, yeah, this guy's just moving into our own province. We haven't site searched here, so, we can site search, and then also hopefully we will catch, an Elven Raider. So, incinerate. We're leaning on that right now for our anti-raiding operations. And then we're also trying to take our throne back, very cheap. This is one of our regular Gigante commanders. He can probably take up to 6 PD, maybe a little bit more. I mean, these guys are pretty good. He's experienced. He's got good stats. So yeah, if he dumps PD here, we could be in trouble. If he bumps into anything real, he's gonna die. But it's a pretty cheap counter raid. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. And yeah, we're taking the other option. I talked a lot about how sitting here and building a fort would be a bad idea. So that's why I attacked. And now that I don't have an army to cover this fort construction, I'm starting it. Yeah, and we actually did get raided here this turn. And the fort had not yet started, so I'm not that crazy to just have like minimal lizard PD covering a fort construction. But turns out this is one of the ones that we I think I said we lost this, but that wasn't true. The lizards came through. They're pretty nasty. They get the 2 attacks and everything, fairly like high damaging. I think they probably also got a bit lucky here. That's misform with all the 1s, but yeah. So he didn't die, but he ran. So yeah, we're not going to take the fight to Hinnom, to TNN, obviously. Like there's no way that's going to happen. So we have to dig in. Our infrastructure situation is terrible. These lizard shamans are going to be really nice, and they are going to close out that foul vapors hole that we have a bit. It won't be perfect, but we'll have some defense against that, which will be nice. And they're good these are good mages. Like we want these guys definitely. So since we're not going to be attacking, we're going to be defending. Like screw it. Like let's build the fort. We'll try plan B. So I think that is actually what the Pretender was doing. Of course he didn't raid here. It would have been nice to catch a raider. But anyway, so she's going to be moving on top of this fort, to cover the fort construction. And we'll probably, when we have some more stuff, we'll bring some more stuff over, to help, help her out. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Dig in, counter raid, hope we can survive, and hope that the situation changes somehow. We don't really have a whole lot of information about the rest of the world, like still cruising our scouts around. Russ looks decently big, possibly somebody to talk to. Part of the problem, I was chatting with some of these southern neighbors, is this river here. Definitely some people have heat scales, right? Because it's the middle of winter, late winter. And so, this river normally would be frozen, right? And, yeah, I think normally, you can't, if you don't have a scout in the area, right? So it's the map, just assuming that the map has a winter version. So for the random maps, they always do. But you have to be careful. Sometimes custom maps don't have a winterized version. So you do kind of need to check, the actual provinces to see the heat scales and etc. But anyway, assuming that it does have a winterized version, when you have no sight on the area, it just assumes the normal for the season, right? So it's it's late winter, everything should be snowy. But that's not necessarily true. For instance, Ermor here, probably has pretty heavy heat scales, and everything our scout can see is oh yeah, no, there's no snow here, right? So this is BS, right? There's probably no snow here. We just don't know that. So it's yeah, this river might be frozen, but judging by the fact that where we actually have a scout, it's not frozen. I think there's a decent amount. TNN doesn't have super heavy heat scales, it looks like, right? Because there is some, cold and some snow on the ground. But anyway, having chatted with some of these southern neighbors, this river is actually kind of annoying for them to get across. There's a bridge here, and I think that's pretty much it. There might be, yeah, there's some bridges over here, but like, yeah, this is a pretty effective barrier, actually. So yeah, they're like less interested because it's, you know, they have to go through like a really predictable path, you know, to attack TNN, and it's pretty much just Rust. Like I don't think Machaca really has an easy way in. So anyway, still just cruising around, you know, trying to see what's going on. And then something kind of interesting here. So it looks like Pelagia is in trouble in terms of the underwater situation. Atlantis is sieging one of their forts. Hard to tell, you know, exactly what's going on, but I mean, obviously, anytime you have a fort getting sieged, that's not good news. Also, Therados is down here, which is really like not good news for anybody, but definitely not good news for TNN. Therados is the only pop kill nation, I believe, in early age. It's kind of one of the nice things about early age is, you know, you don't have to deal with as much of the pop kill nations. But Therados is a pop kill nation, and it can be pretty strong. And Atlantis also can be fairly strong in terms of coming on land for both of these nations. Whereas like Pelagia, my understanding is like they're decent. They're probably good in the underwater, but they really struggle to come onto land. So like you kind of like, as a land nation, you kind of like to see Pelagia, you know, doing well, because you know you're less likely to get messed with, and you're more likely to be able to fend them off. So yeah, this is not really a concern for us yet, but I mean we're not that far away from the coast, so it is still somewhat relevant, you know, in terms of what exactly is going on in the water near us. So yeah, I'll try to keep an eye on that, but, you know, the scouting in this game is not great. So anyway, yeah, I think that covers turn 35. All right, Mekone, turn 36. Yeah, we missed with some magic site searching, and the raiding war continues. So we got raided in a couple provinces. I believe these were originally TNNs, and yeah, now he's just using some she warriors and a little bit of garbage to take out, you know, pretty minimal PD. And then I think, yeah, this is similarly, you know, just some of those dogs, very minimal PD. So yeah, starting to see some variation, maybe some, these are probably like some cheaper raiding squads. Although with the she champion here, yeah, he's not super cheap. I wonder, are these guys? No, they're not magic beings. So yeah, could have been led by a regular commander. Not sure why this guy's, oh, to bless him, probably, yeah. Yeah, for the blessing. Anyway, yeah, I'm starting to see some different raiding groups from TNN. We caught some raiding between Ermor and Pangea, so this is a fairly heavy raid. These satyrs are cool because they're stealthy. So yeah, very cool, like stealthy raiding option. They are undisciplined, which, you know, kind of sucks. They have no shield, low protection, but you know, they got a javelin. They're decent, definitely enough to take out absolute minimal PD. Yeah, and then we had some counter raids here, so most of these were not super interesting. So yeah, we cleaned out, you know, some trash, I believe. Let me take a look. Maybe we should take a look at this because we're all over the map here. These are lesser fire elementals, I believe. So yeah, ooh, that's scary. Yeah, this is definitely why you should watch, you know, even like your battle replays where you're like, oh yeah, like it went totally fine. Sometimes, you know, like stuff happens where it's like, oh, actually that could have gone a very different way. So I think this is the guy that's set to attack twice and then start to do incinerates, because, you know, incinerate doesn't have the longest range, so if he's trying to get like an elven thug all the way in the back, he is going to need to move forward. But I think 2 attacks, so he moves forward for 2 rounds. That might be too much. But anyway, yeah, lesser fire elementals, they can handle regular troops really well. You know, it's that ethereal at play. So yeah, that went well. And let's see, there's Kunaral. Right, this is our solo operator Polomark. You know, he's got his bless flask for our absolute minimal bless. And he's actually up against a decent amount here. I think this is not a PD dump. This is mostly just like leftover stuff. Though, yeah, this is, no, probably not a PD commander, because I don't think they come in injured. So yeah, I think this is probably all like leftover stuff. And this is quite a bit of, you know, I mean, it's garbage mostly. Although like the Furbolg since he doesn't have as much protection, they might be able to break through. So yeah, possibly the Furbolg might be problematic, but I think our Polemark is pretty safe here, as long as he doesn't fatigue out. I think he just damaged himself with his own gear. Let's see, where did he take damage from? Yeah, 5 points of shock damage. It's just, yeah, man, shock damage is super nasty. So it's like this plate gives you 25 shock resistance. But when he gets struck, this charged body goes off, and a lot of times, this is enough so that he doesn't take any damage, from his own, because you take the caster of charged body also takes damage from it, shock damage. But yeah, sometimes it's not enough still. So yeah, it's kind of odd. You'd think like 25, surely that'd be enough. It's the item gives you the resistance, and it, causes the shock damage, but sometimes it's enough to get through. Probably just got a really good roll. I'd say Fire Shield is actually doing quite a bit of work here. All those guys getting set on fire. Well, especially like the slingers and stuff. They're very short weapons, length 0, so much more likely to get set on fire and all that kind of stuff. And that's good because, that helps alleviate any fatigue problems that we have. And you can see we took, a decent amount of damage. Those were like roughly half his health. So that was a little dicey. 24 protection is good, but not great. So, we did have luck on, although that probably wouldn't have helped us win the battle. Luck is nice, but probably better on like human units, because it's much, if he gets down to the point where he actually needs to start using his luck, he's probably just going to run away anyway. But still, a better showing from one of our Polemarks, who have not been doing fantastic so far. Not that this was, there's some leftover garbage from that army that we beat, in minimal PD, but hey, we've seen him lose to PD, and stuff like that before. So yeah, let's see. This is this is our super budget raid, and I think this is just absolutely minimal PD. So he has no problem here. We can just verify. But one militia and like one light infantry, not enough. Even with their Furbolg commander, this guy is a giant and heavily armored. I think this is some more of, this is our Polemark squad, who we haven't actually seen in a while. Yeah, just one PD, so they're taking advantage of the fact that they both get to be in the same square, right? Hopefully, I think. Oh, maybe not. Iron Skin. May not have the research for it yet, but anyway, you can take advantage of, one square buffs, and you can get 2 Polemarks with one spell, which is nice. But yeah, they're not really being efficient. And then this guy's just here to bless them so that they can use their gear for other stuff. So they don't have to use one of those, holy water flasks that lets them operate independently. Oops. And then I think this is our E4 rating. Yeah. And yeah, minimal PD. So our troops they carry the day there. So yeah, we got a bunch of provinces back. We cleaned out the rest of the trash from that army, but we didn't catch any raiders. They've gone to ground again mostly. So it was a successful turn, but also kind of not that successful. You really got to kill those raiders. So yeah, some random events. Village well turned red. Just normal stuff. Some astral pearls, and we lost some tax. We found a Niflheim scout. This is on Hinnom, so he's keeping an eye on us. It's nice to know that our neighbors care. And then some patrolling and other stuff we don't care about. So, yeah. Pretty much the same as before, right? Just bringing more stuff, on top of this fort. We randomly got this item, which is kind of an interesting one. It's pretty expensive to make. But we got it for free, so and it just makes it so the scout report shows like 25 fewer units for units under this guy's command. So I think in theory it's gonna look like there's no Giganti hoplites at all. sitting on this province. So kind of hoping to ambush, a force that is looking to, wipe out this fort construction and maybe kill, the goddess, and is not expecting there to be like a stack of, Giganti hoplites there to help out. So we'll see. Bring in, a bunch of polemarchs. This is really like kind of the focus of our defense now. We have a lab here. I think we got it for free. Regardless, we have one, so we can just hang out, and research. So our mages won't be doing nothing, which is really important. And yeah, this is going to be a really obvious, easy target. We've talked about that before. Otherwise, doing some site searching, moving around, trying to do some more site searching, catch raiders, etc., all the normal kind of stuff. In terms of recruitment, trying to bring in more of these archons. They're great casters. They're a little slow to, bring in, slow to recruit. But yeah, I mean, we need more of them for sure. And then, just a mix of peltasts and Giganti hoplites. We need the bulk, but the peltasts, we need more than just the peltasts. And yeah, the Giganti hoplites didn't do great and aren't going to do great against those elves, and they can't connect. But like they are something that are going to be able to kill the elves. So we do need like a killing component of the army. So yeah, and they'll be good in other situations. So I do think trying to rebuild, a force of those is going to be, important. So similar recruitment in our capital, our own capital, and then, continuing to pump out polemarchs. I think I may have gone and continue to go overboard, perhaps, on the polemarchs. They are really good. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe some more Cyclopses. They are really expensive and slow to recruit. The other option is like, these Basiluses, who are good, and they get some paths that we don't have, and then the Cyclopses, who are also good. But yeah, they're just both like slow to recruit. I don't know. The polemarchs are definitely like pretty expensive to maintain. Not that these guys are really cheaper to maintain. In fact, yeah, they're even more expensive. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't go overboard on polemarchs. I have a lot of them, and I'm going to recruit more. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, and I think that more or less covers it. We haven't talked about research in a hot second. So we're going for enchantment 4. Which will get us a couple nice things. So we'll benefit from flaming arrows, definitely, right? We're looking at a lot of projectiles from our peltasts. And it's something we can cast. And then let's see, poison ward is going to be nice once we get those shamans online. Assuming we get those shamans online. It's not the greatest area of effect, but it's something. Twiceborn we can do on our pretender. So we'll see. It's going to be very expensive because you gotta watch out. This asterisk doesn't come up a lot, but yeah, it's 5 death gems for each size point of the caster. So it's actually, I think, 30 death gems for our pretender, right? Because she's size 6. Yeah. So that would be a very expensive venture, but it is nice. Like, she's not immortal or anything like that. We can always call her back, but we don't actually have like a ton of mages, and we actually have very few priests. Because the polemarchs, again, they're sacred, but they're not priests, can't bless themselves. So yeah, if she were to die, it would be difficult to call her back. So having her twiceborn is an option. We do actually have a lot of death gems saved up. We don't have a very good income. But we do have a bunch saved up. So yeah, that's probably what we're looking at with enchantment 4. Construction 4, we are kind of a thug nation. And we would like to eventually get to construction 6 for the lightless lanterns. Construction 4 will also open up skull mentors, which, yeah, because our death income is so low, it's another research item. We probably won't go that route. Our pretender would have to be making them, and she probably has better things to be doing. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So more thug items is good. Eventually, want to get to lightless lanterns for the research. Going up to blood 3, kind of just slotted that in, snuck it in. It won't take us that long to get there. Doesn't really get us much. I mean, we're going for crossbreeding, which I mentioned that, our goddess can do. We actually do have kind of a lot of blood slaves saved up because Hinnom, they have a site that gives us 2 a turn. And then I think, we have a slave market up here. Yeah. So yeah, we're getting 5 blood slaves a turn, when we're not getting this slave market raided away from TNN, which, happens periodically. But yeah, so we have a bunch of blood slaves and really not a whole lot to do with them right now. So, and we don't really have much in the way of an army. So I don't know, also like this game is not going super well. So a little bit of experimentation is always interesting and fun. It was something that I was thinking about doing, and it's not going to delay us that much. So screw it. Let's do it. Blood Magic 3, a little crossbreeding. And then, just not finishing out. We really probably want to get to Evocation 6, but Evocation 5 will be really nice, mostly for like Fire Cloud and Falling Fires and things like that. Maybe some Earthquake. So anyway, yeah, like I said, our mages are going to be fighting in all likelihood, so getting them some more firepower would be good. Maybe in retrospect would have pushed this a little higher, Evocation. I mean, I don't think any of this is a bad idea, but, if we get attacked and wiped out, before we get the Evocation magic, like the rest of this isn't really going to matter as much. So anyway, yeah, just some thoughts on research. And then speaking of research, while we still have this, so we do have this Oracle's Lair again, and we have not looked at the magic graphs in a long time, and they're probably going to be more interesting now. So let's take a look. You can see this is the province graph. So yeah, you can see where we got hit by TNN, but we bounced back. So this is good, right? You want to see this, and we actually like went up a little bit as we raided some of his provinces back, and then down and up. And anyway, that's a pretty normal look when you're getting hit by elves. But yeah, so gem income. Oh boy, a lot of factions. So obviously Atlantis, who we have seen, right? He's sieging, one of Pelagia's forts, and you can kind of use gem income as like a stand-in for province graph, right? Because the gem income is, roughly correlated to the, the more provinces you have, the more gem income you're going to have. Generally speaking, obviously it depends a lot in terms of how lucky you get and how much site searching you're doing and, yada, yada, yada. But if you don't have province graphs, but you do have gem income, you can kind of look at it and be like, okay, like, yeah, I mean, right, this tells you something. You do have to be careful. Let's double check. I don't think any globals were cast. Yeah. Obviously, if there's a gem generating global, that's going to inflate someone's graph a lot. Well, not inflate, like those are actual gems and it matters a ton for income. But, then it's a little harder to tell, like, where their province count is, because a lot of that income is not coming from a bunch of provinces they own. It's coming from the gem global. But anyway, yeah, Atlantis is looking pretty scary based off of this. And then here's TNN. So I mean, he was first for a little while there. You know what I mean? He's still like, top 10 definitely. And then let's see. Let's knock out everybody here for a second. It would be nice if Dominions had like a show all hide all button. Just one of the many quality of life features that I'm sure is really boring to implement, and why do that when you can do another faction, which I appreciate. I mean, who doesn't love another faction? So I don't even hate it. It does mean you do a decent amount of clicking from time to time. Let's see, like Niflheim. Let's see, kind of curious about Russ. Like they're near us. I think, yeah, we can see Machaka as well. We have Ermor on. Let's see, I think, oh yeah, Kalem. They're nearby, definitely. Agartha, Pangea. Okay, I may be turning on too many at this point. So this is probably good enough. What about Pelagia? Oh yeah, see, it's Pelagia probably on their way out. This is not good. Therados also like really high, right? Like when Atlantis is not here, Therados, is up there definitely. So that's a little freaky. Like two powerful looking water nations, appearing. It's not our coast. It could benefit us, right? Because I mean, they could become TNN's problem, which would be the ideal situation. But yeah, I mean, they could become our problem eventually too. And definitely if I was Niflheim, I'd be sweating bullets. So yeah, Niflheim not doing so great, just in terms of size. I think they are pretty much exactly, yeah, this is us. So we are tied with Niflheim for dead last, at least among, kind of neighbors and like people we're interested in. Not like horribly. I mean, it's not good. But yeah, let's see. Ermor took a dive. Looks like probably related to, sometimes you can see like these inflection points, right? So like, I know that Pangaea and Ermor are fighting, but sometimes you can tell who is fighting who just by looking at like, the inflection points, right? So it's like, yeah, they're raiding each other. So it looks like Pangaea's had an uptick here, and Ermor's had a downtick, but nothing major. So I don't, doesn't matter too much. Agartha also not like super strong, one of Niflheim's neighbors. We don't know too much about them. But yeah, Russ is pretty big, right? So I mean, yeah, they had some fighting with somebody earlier, but it looks like it's stabilized. So yeah, kind of interesting. And then let's take a look at research. Yeah, so this is Ermor, and this is something that Ermor can do. It's something that I want to say any Fire Nation can do, but this is almost assuredly lightless lanterns. You can even see, like, this is the turn, right? It's like where it flattens out here. He made a bunch of lanterns, right? It's like this is where he could start making lanterns. So he took a bunch of mages off researching to make a bunch of lanterns, and now all of a sudden, like, shoom, it's just going way up. So at least, like, among, like, our immediate neighbors, like, Ermor is looking super scary. Actually, for gem income, where's Calum at? Their other ally. Yeah. Pretty dang good, real close to Russ and Therados, like more than TNN at this point. So anyway, back to research. Where's our research at? Yeah, not great. Not the worst, though. Way better than Pangaea's. Well, way better, but significantly better than Pangaea's. That's pretty abysmal from Pangaea there. And what is this, Russ? Yeah, that's pretty rough as well. Yeah. I have said repeatedly, like, I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to research, so, grain of salt, but I do think that, some nations and some strategies can get away with kind of, like, lower research earlier in the game, and then, they pull something like what Ermor is pulling, but later. I mean, research is hugely important, so, pursue a strategy like that with caution. So, maybe they know what they're doing and they're planning on just ramping their research up later and they don't really need it right now. But I mean, it's turn 36, so that's like solidly mid-game. Definitely if you're Ermor, like Ermor is fighting against Pangaea, like that's a huge research disparity. Like this would freak me out if I was Pangaea. I'd be like, oh god, there's gonna be some really nasty spells coming my way. I mean, even as Ermor's ally, this kind of like freaks me out. I'm like, oh boy, okay, so Ermor is probably going to be a problem. Basically what this graph tells me. So yeah, and we're not doing great. Let's see. This is Calum's research. Actually, not as good as I might have expected. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as familiar with Calum. He hasn't been in any big wars. It does look like Arcocephale's research is taking off, and he did mention that he wanted to hit some research goals, right? So it's really starting to inflect up here. And then what is this? Therados? Yeah, they're another nation. They're good forging. So, like, yeah, probably also making research boosters. And then just out of curiosity, let's bring everybody in to see. I'm pretty sure Ermor is, like, far and away the leader. But, it is kind of interesting to see. Is there anybody else that's, like, Nope. Nobody else is even ballpark. So, I mean, actually, we're bordering, like, some decently strong people. Which, could be good, could be bad. So, and then I think that's it. Yeah, those are the only graphs you get to see. Oh yeah, here's army size. Yeah, what was that? Maybe somebody threw away their only field army. At least it's going up now, so that's good. So anyway, yeah, took a look at the graphs. We are behind in research. This is not a surprise. We've pretty much been fighting not the whole game, but more like turn 13, turn 14. And not doing great either in this war, or really even fantastic against Ulm. And yeah, even against Hinnom, we didn't grab as much territory as we should have, and not enough anyway. So the graphs confirm not all is well, but we did raid back a ton of territory. Our fort has not been knocked down yet, and we're kind of moving a little trap in. We're gonna have a ton of mages. We bumped up the PD here again. So, yeah, hopefully we can ambush TNN again. Ambushing the elves is always delightful. And yeah, I think that covers turn 36.